We'll make something really nice for the newsletter area and we'll place it just above the testimonials. To save a bit of time, I will use a lovely freebie. This is it, and if you look it up on Google, you'll surely find it. So we drag it into our project and make some adjustments regarding its positioning. The first thing we'll do is enlarge the element so it spans the entire width of the screen, also known in CSS as repeat X. Remove the shadow effect next. Move the red and blue stripes to the side and make a copy of them. Make sure they line up nicely. Of course, we need to adjust a couple of things, for example the submit button. We can delete that. The field as well isn't looking that sharp, so we'll remove its gradient effect, make it white, and change the blending mode to normal. Regarding the text inside the field, we're just gonna make it a bit darker. Next on the removal list is the stamp effect on the left side. I do like it is a nice touch, but it just doesn't fit a continuous element. So trash that. Remember those nice shadow effects we made with the ellipse tool? Yeah, just remove them. Then change the cool blue to gray, and that's about it. To delimit this area well, we'll add a stroke to it. Okay, now it's looking good. Let's experiment with an inner shadow just so the transition between the two elements looks more natural. We're looking for something very fine, so make sure you aim for exactly that. The font for subscribe to our newsletter needs to change, and the color, well, red is a bit too strong, so that doesn't work. Cancel that and leave the color as is. Change the description to something darker. Regarding the submit button, we'll continue with the style we've used so far. Grab an existing one and then drag a copy of it into place. Make sure you place it in the appropriate position in the layers panel. I can't tell you how important it is to have everything in order in that panel. Without it, it's like an action movie without Bruce Willis. Sure, it can work, but it just doesn't make sense. Change the text to submit and resize the shape so it fits. One of the last things we need to change on this element is the close button, which is a darker red than what we've used so far. Remove that effect, change its color, and play with the stroke nuance as well. The X needs to be white completely. Our style is very clean overall, so this grungy/dirty pattern that sits on top of our stripes just doesn't make sense. Remove it and let's take a look at our work. I noticed that the submit button is just a pixel taller than the field. Fix that with the Ctrl-A approach. My thought process right now is to finish off this element in a way that makes it flow perfectly with everything else. Anytime you use a freebie, it must look organic, like it was made in the same thought registry. Going on the text for the left side, change the color to a dark gray, and then we'll highlight the word newsletter by putting it in red. Simple stuff, but it goes a long way. Let's take another look from the top all the way to the bottom. An interesting idea is to take the formatting of the newsletter BG and apply it to our testimonials area. You know that color has been bugging me the entire time. I gotta say it looks pretty good, though I should add an inner shadow to it to ease the transition. I'll use Ctrl-Z to go back and forth to decide. Yeah, we'll keep it. Slightly move it down. Next thing on our list is the footer. Let's see his current one. Okay, nothing special about it. We're gonna drag a copy and make it smaller. The color of it is another thing that's not very clear in my mind. I'll try a few options, even see it in red, but of course that's not gonna work. We can try a pattern but with a low opacity. Not sure about that as well. I'll just try some things until I get the right feeling about it. Regarding the footer in itself, you usually have a decision. Do you make a minimal footer with copyright information and 2-3 standard links, or do you go for the big one with lots of information? This really depends on the design. In this case, the footer area is already quite full considering we have the testimonials and newsletter section just above them. If it wasn't for them, we'd surely make something bigger, but as it stands, we're just gonna use something minimal. Plus it cuts down the work, though that should be one of the last factors on your list. So that's about it for the moment. I'm quite happy with every element, and even if we don't win, I can surely reuse some of these. Let's move on.